Cavin Elizabeth, a wedding photographer and bridal boutique owner based in San Diego, and today I'm talking about 8 things you need to know before sending out your save the date cards. Today's video is going to be all about save the date cards, everything that you need to know about them, why they're important, why you should send them, and basically everything that is important to know before you're going to be sending them out. But first things first, I wanted to show you guys a little thing that I think that you need to get before you even start any part of your wedding planning. So I know I've been showing this a lot lately, and I definitely want to be showing this to you guys. If you do not have this book already, I highly recommend it. This is A Bride's Guide to a Picture Perfect Wedding. I spent a really long time writing this book, and it was definitely my pride and joy when it came out. And I wanted to show you guys this book because it is really packed with information. A lot of it I haven't shared on this channel, and I go into depth about really everything from how to choose your photographer to the engagement session, things on what to wear, how to choose your engagement session location, picking things like your boudoir session, everything you need to know about that, bridal portraits, your album, planning the timeline, basically everything that you need to know about your wedding planning process when it comes to photography, and how to really give your photographer the best possible canvas so that you have the best possible photos. You can pick this book up on Amazon. The link is down in the description below. You can also get the Kindle version, and if you are not based in the United States and you want a printed copy, you can buy it on Etsy and I will personally ship it to you. So go ahead and get yourself this book, or if you are not engaged but you know somebody who is, this is the perfect gift for them if they are really caring about photography and they want it to be the best that it can possibly be. So let's go ahead and jump back into the video. Not even one of the things that you need to know about save the date cards is really deciding whether or not you need to send them. And I really think that you should be sending them, because save the date cards are really a great way to make sure that your wedding date gets on your guest calendar. If you want to have the most people attending as possible, make sure that you're sending them out. The first thing you need to decide on for your save the date cards is whether you're going to do paper or digital. Either way, you need to collect a piece of information from your guests, whether that is their address or their email address. If you are going to do paper, it's going to be more costly because you have to order physical invitations or physical save the date cards, and then obviously their envelopes. Envelopes are usually really cheap, but you're going to have to order those, and those are going to be more costly. Digital is either going to be free or very low cost. Sometimes there's going to be a cost associated with it if you are getting a design. Some design services are going to be costly. Some are going to be absolutely free. So digital is going to be overall a less costly option than if you are doing the paper route. Paper can be kind of minimal cost. It can be maybe like $100, or it can be a couple $100, or it could be like $1,000+ if you are hiring a really expensive designer for your save the date cards, and you are getting like letterpress, or you're doing really fancy things with like little gifts inside of them. You can go absolutely crazy for your save the dates. I've seen some really wild designs from some high-end planners sharing what their clients did, so you can really go crazy with these. They do not have to be basic, but they can certainly be basic if you want them to be. There's nothing wrong with that at all. The next one is figuring out when to send your save the dates, and I typically recommend 4 to 6 months before the wedding. I would send them on the earlier side if your guests are going to be traveling somewhere, so if they're flying or driving longer distances. 4 months is fine if you have mostly local guests. The next one is figuring out who to send your save the date cards to. Now you should have your guest list figured out. Your guest list should be figured out based on your budget, how many people your venue can accommodate. You might have an A-list guest and a B-list guest. Your save the date cards should only be sent to your A-list guests. Do not send them to your B-list guests. I would think that would be for obvious reasons, but you should not be sending them to your B-list guests in case you don't actually send your real wedding invitation to your B-list guests. The next one is figuring out if you are going to design them yourself, or if you are going to use more of a custom or semi-custom design service. So something like minted.com or Basic Invite, you can go that route, or you could hire somebody altogether to create something completely custom for you, or even some Independent designers actually have semi-custom designs that you can use. You can find them through Etsy, or you can find them through maybe Instagram and then go to their website, or you can email them and they might have semi-custom designs that they can like put together and then email you the files, and you can have them printed somewhere. So you can go that route. You can get really creative with this. Obviously, if you are going through somebody custom, just know it will be a larger cost than if you're using something like Minted or Basic Invite. You can obviously do it yourself. You will need to find a printer to print them for you. You can find a local printer, or you can look online for printing services. I don't have any resources for that. I'm sorry, you will have to find this for yourself. The next one is to figure out if you are going to be using your engagement photos or whatever kinds of photos you want to use on your save the date cards. And if that is the case, obviously, if you're using engagement photos, you need to make sure that your engagement photos are going to be ready by the time you need to send your save the date cards out and design them. So you need to make sure that you are scheduling your engagement session at least, I would say, a month and a half to 2 months, whatever your photographer's turnaround time is, before you need to send those cards out. So ask your photographer or book a photographer and then ask them, what is your turnaround time, or when could we get 1 to 2 photos back in order to have them ready to design and then print out and send for our save the date cards. For your design itself, I really think it's very, very valuable to have a design that is going to be cohesive with the wedding invitation suite later on. Now, you know that is probably not going to match perfectly, because unless you're hiring the same person to design the save the date cards and the invitation suite, or you're using the same suite through Basic Invite or Minted or whatever service, it might not match completely. But if it's going to be cohesive, that is going to be really valuable, because then it's going to match really well in your wedding photos, because you're probably, or at least I hope you are, going to bring all of your wedding invitation suite pieces and your save the date card for your photographer to photograph on the morning of your wedding. This is something that you should be doing so that you get pictures of it. You invested money in this if it was a paper piece, and so I hope that you're going to get it photographed. And so in your photos, if it matches or it's at least cohesive with, and isn't like a black piece of paper, but then you had lavender and sage green invitation suite, or lavender and sage green wedding, but you had a black save the date card, that's going to be really jarring in your wedding photos. And so it's not going to be cohesive with your photos. It's going to really stick out and be like, whoa, what is that doing in here? It's going to look really different. But if it's really cohesive with your wedding colors, at least, if you don't know what your invitation suite design is, at least if it's cohesive with your wedding color palette, it's going to blend in really well in your wedding photo gallery. So it's not going to be jarring. It's going to be very cohesive, and it's going to blend in really nicely. Next are what details to include. So you need to include when your wedding is. You don't have to know the time of the ceremony or anything like that. You just need to note the date and where it is, so what city at least at minimum, if you don't know your venue yet. But if you do know your venue, you can put that on there. But definitely at least include the city so that your guests know where it is, because they might not know what the venue is or where the venue is, especially if the venue has a very generic name and they don't know which one it is, because there could be multiple across the country. So definitely put the city. And then you need to notate something like your wedding website. If you have that, that's a really great place to put it. So go ahead and put it there if it's already published. And make sure that if you are putting your wedding website on here, that your wedding website is ready to go. So it's already ironed out the kinks. You've got all the details you need to know. I just made a video about this, so make sure to go watch that. I'll link it down below in the description. And then also something like formal invitation to follow. You don't have to put that, but it is a nice little thing to put that on there as well. The last thing that you need to know about your save the date cards is if you are using a square save the date, that costs more postage than if you are using a rectangle. So definitely know that. Also, if you are including any little gifts or any sort of things that are going to raise up or not slide through a normal postage meter, that's going to cost you more as well. So a tip that I have for you guys, if you are not just using a flat rectangular style save the date card, something normal, so to speak, then I would recommend taking a sample to the post office and having them weigh it so that you know the amount of postage you need, and then you can either pick up some stamps there and then bring them home, and then you can like put your postage on there. So you could buy some forever stamps, and then you could buy an additional sheet of stamps that gives you like a cute little stamp. Get something cute. I don't know, it can be really fun. And then you can put 2 stamps, so a forever stamp and then whatever other stamp gives you the exact amount of postage or a little bit over postage that you need. And so you can put 2 stamps on each save the date card, so that way you have enough. Or you could just take them all to the post office and have them do it for you. Either way works. You can mail them out from home, or you could take the whole batch to the post office. You're gonna have to stand in line. You're gonna make the people behind you a little bit angry that they're waiting so long for you to mail all of your little things out, but you can do it either way. So those are all of my tips for you guys. Those are the 8 things that you need to know before you send out your save the dates. I can't wait for you guys to send these out. It's really fun for the process of designing these, getting them out, being really excited to send out your save the dates, having your guests get them in the mail or open them over their email. Whatever process you do is great. It's really exciting time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to go pick up my book on Amazon or Etsy, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!